Good afternoon. My name is Praprichada Gebauer, and I'm a part of academic faculty at the Key Skills Center at Kiel University. At the Key Skills Center, I offer seminars which focus on training and building of intercultural competence in students. In the winter semester 2021-22, I offered the pilot semester intercultural learning in local projects using service learning as a tool to develop interdisciplinary skills in students. In the next 10 minutes, I'd like to give you an overview of the pilot seminar while answering the questions who, when, why, how, and what pertaining to this seminar. After the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to watch a short interview between all three partners involved in the seminar, sharing their experiences and takeaways. Beginning with the Key Skills Center at Kiel University, it is perhaps important to know that during the course of a double subject bachelor degree program, students at Kiel University are required a total of 20 credit points from supplementary study courses. These can be chosen from more than 300 modules offered at the Key Skills Center, out of which 45 courses are dedicated solely to the development of interdisciplinary skills, and this is exactly where this seminar was placed. Courses at the Key Skills Center are open for students from all across disciplines, which makes the center and its work one of a kind on campus. With the central goal of training interdisciplinary skills in individuals, the center recognizes its responsibility in educating students for a life as responsible citizens by providing plenty of opportunities to put acquired knowledge to practice and engage themselves on and off campus. Kultur Grenzenlos was our real-world community partner for this pilot. It is a local nonprofit organization which fosters encounters between people of different backgrounds to promote understanding among different members of the society. With the vision of breaking down prejudices and inhibitions, the organization holds several events every month to make a contribution to an open society in Kiel. With migration and diversity being the call of the hour and intercultural competence at the heart of my work, it was an obvious choice for me to cooperate with Kultur Grenzenlos in the winter semester 2021-22. Furthermore, I have known and cooperated with the association on several other occasions and noticed very quickly that we share similar values and have an innate appreciation for diversity. Our third counterpart were 15 students at Kiel University stemming from very different degree programs. These ranged from sociology, sports, ethnology to education, archaeology, and music, to name just a few. Some had prior experience with community engagement, and some were looking to gain this experience and combine it with their field of studies during the semester. Contrary to other service learning approaches, where students bring their specialist skills to the project and to the community partner, this approach focused on training interdisciplinary skills such as intercultural competence, team leading, and project management skills by using service learning as a tool. Learning objectives of the seminar required students to deal with the concepts of interculturality and cultural diversity, to have the required skill set to recognize and reflect their own behavior, attitudes, and values in intercultural interactions. They were required to work in small, diverse teams, take up different roles, and thereby train their collaboration and problem-solving skills. One central goal of the seminar required these project teams to work intensively at the community partner to develop and implement their own intercultural projects. These could be in various formats, such as online events, social events, and media projects. The seminar can be seen as divided into three different phases. The first phase included theoretical input from the field of intercultural competence to equip students with adequate knowledge and skills for intercultural interactions, which they'll require for the projects at the community partner. Various methods and models were implemented to promote a healthy working atmosphere where students could voice not only their needs, but also their fears and apprehensions related to community engagement. It was also important for students to get to know the community partner early on in the semester. Thus, sessions were held regularly at the premises of Kulturgrenzenlos in order to build a bridge between the two sides. During the first session, for example, members of Kulturgrenzenlos gave an overview of the structure of the organization and presented different engagement areas where students could later dock their projects onto. Moreover, it communicated its needs directly to the student group. During the second phase, teams of 3 students worked on a project idea at Kulturgrenzenlos. This is where the scope, timeline, and milestones for individual projects were determined, and further steps for the implementation of projects were discussed. During this process, I was constantly in touch with Kulturgrenzenlos to seek feedback and inform myself about the student-community partnership. The last phase included meetings with the community partner and the project teams to reflect the service learning experience and results from the project work. As part of the evaluation process, students were required to hand in individual reflective essays on their personal service learning experience and their development of interdisciplinary skills throughout the engagement. I am now sure you're curious to know about the results of the service learning projects which were implemented by the teams. In the next few slides, I'll give you a brief overview of some projects which were put in place. The first project team cooperated with the project coordinator of the tandem project team from Kulturgrenzenlos to organize an event which aimed to combine creativity and the topic of feminism. This event was open to the public and was attended by approximately 15 to 20 people. The project group invited a women's rights activist from Afghanistan, Shamsia Azamer, who now lives in Germany, to give a short talk on the current situation of women, especially women's education in Afghanistan after the withdrawal of the Allies last year. Shamsia shared her own personal experiences and inspired all participants of the workshop to further engage themselves for women's rights across the globe. After her talk, all participants had the chance to express themselves creatively using paints and canvases. You'd be happy to hear that members of this team wish to expand and continue their engagement beyond the seminar by offering similar events in the future. Names, as we know, are the first anchors of our identity and often have their own meanings. The aim of this particular project was to address the issue of almost invisible discrimination based on names by recording a short podcast series with an educational character. In their podcast, students wanted to focus on how prejudices and assessments based on non-reflective assumptions affect people with names which do not sound very German to the majority of the society. This project team worked together with the media team called Perspective at the community partner to explore this important issue from 3 different angles: discrimination related to first names, discrimination related to last names, and lastly, discrimination based on nicknames. The next project group organized a series of skate workshops for different target groups. The first skate workshop was offered to persons belonging to the Flinta group with no prior experience in skateboarding. Flinta stands for people who define themselves as females, lesbians, intersex, non-binary, transgender, and agender. The focus here was to give Flinta persons who are generally at disadvantage in the society a safe space and opportunity to try out their hand at an otherwise male-dominated sphere of skateboarding, thereby empowering them. The second workshop was offered to skateboarding beginners in general. The third event was a combination of skateboarding and a skate empowerment workshop for participants from the first 2 events. We'll be hearing more about this project after this presentation. Lastly, the 4th project team cooperated with Erasmus students on campus and a project coordinator from the Tandem project at Kulturgrenzenlos to hold 2 online interactive events with a focus on neighboring European countries. During these events, participants could get insights into the life and culture of some European countries, such as Poland, Spain, Italy, and Turkey. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope you could get an impression of how service learning aided in the development of interdisciplinary skills in students during this pilot seminar. We'll now move on to the interview with all three partners involved in the pilot seminar to get their experiences related to service learning.
Hi, I am Wiebke Mathis. I work at Kiel University and I run this Key Skills Center there. We offer cross-disciplinary optional courses for all students of Kiel University. Today, I want to talk to Preeti, Lina, and Marike to learn how they use the service learning approach to train and learn and how they benefit from intercultural competence in higher education. Hello, everybody. Preeti, who are you?
Hi, my name is Praprichada Gibawa, and I'm a part of the academic staff at the Key Skills Center at Kiel University. At Key Skills Centers, I offer seminars which focus on training and building intercultural competence. These include seminars such as intercultural communication and intercultural training in diverse teams. Apart from this, I'm also a part of a project team which is preparing prospective refugee students for their academic career in Germany. Here again, my focus lies on certain key competencies, in particular communication skills, self-organization skills, and intercultural competence. And of course, in the winter semester 2021-22, as you just heard, I offered the pilot seminar Intercultural Learning in Local Projects, along with our community partner, Kultur Grenzenlos, where we used service learning as a tool for students who collaborated with the community partner and implemented their own projects.
Yeah, hello, my name is Lina. I'm studying education and sports science at Kiel University since 2018. Last semester, I visited the seminar Intercultural Learning in Local Projects. And during this seminar, I planned and organized a project with my team. It was my first contact with service learning, and I really appreciate the experience I made by working in a team and creating something which didn't stay in an academic frame, but was implemented in the real world.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Marike. I work at the community partner of the seminar at Kultur Grenzenlos. Kultur Grenzenlos is a Kiel-based non-profit organization that organizes intercultural encounters between young people from different backgrounds in Kiel. And when I'm not working, I'm doing my master's degree in migration and diversity at Kiel University.
Thank you. And what connects you, Marike, with intercultural competence development?
Yeah, so at Kultur Grenzenlos, all of our work revolves around intercultural encounters. Through different projects, we create free time activities with the goal of bringing people together that otherwise might not have met in their everyday life. One of those projects is our tandem project, where we form tandems between one person with and one person without refugee or migration experience. As the project's coordinator, I meet with each person who signs up for the project in order to get to know them and especially learn about their hobbies and how they like to spend their free time. According to their interest, I then find a tandem partner with similar ideas. This way, I create intercultural situations where I operate as a mediator, I could say. Besides those first meetings, I mediate in situations of conflict between the tandems and reflect with the participants on their tandem partnerships. So I can say that I make use of and keep developing my intercultural competences in my everyday work.
Yeah, for me, intercultural competence development is a huge part of my studies, but it was the first time to make use of my key competence with a community partner. And it's good to see how important it is to form and develop your own multicultural and intercultural skills.
Thank you. I'll begin probably by answering the question on a societal level first. I think we all know that migration and diversity exist at the heart of today's interconnected world, and thus, on a societal level, intercultural understanding and intercultural competence are more important than ever. These make it possible for us as a society to address very important issues across cultural, sociocultural, and ethnic lines such as racism, discrimination, and prejudices. Furthermore, mutual understanding, be it in terms of multicultural or intercultural understanding, fills the content and everyday reality of our work, as we just heard from Marike. And we also know this at the Key Skills Center. And this is also true for our respective universities, with the aim of internationalizing universities or fostering international partnerships. Let's take the CEU here as an example. Intercultural competence becomes a fundamental prerequisite for us to work together. As a consequence, I see us, universities, responsible for developing these necessary skills, attitudes, and knowledge in students, which they require to live together in our diverse societies today.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk about the service learning project. Lina, what was the goal of this project?
As part of the seminar Intercultural Learning and Local Projects, I planned and implemented a skate workshop series together with my fellow students, Julia and Leah, which focused on the introduction to skating and empowerment. And there was one skate workshop that was only for Flinter people. Yeah, Flinter stands as an acronym for groups of people who do not experience acceptance and experience disadvantage and discrimination in our society on a daily basis. The F stands for women. This refers to that group of people who identify as female. The L stands for lesbians, people who read as female who are homosexual. The I stands for intersex people, someone whose intersex has both female and male sex characteristics biologically from birth. And the N refers to the person who are non-binary. These persons do not identify with either the female or the male gender. The T stands for people who are transgender or for trans women and men. And the A denotes people who are agender. These are people who do not have a gender. The second skate workshop was also open to everyone. The workshops were led in a skate park in Kiel by me and two friends, because we have already conducted such skate workshops. And the material was provided by the youth club Chillbox and Kultur Grenzenlos. The last date took place in the Fahrradkino-Kombinat, which is a cultural location here in Kiel. Here we created an evening together with where we had a space for exchange, and we watched a queer feminist skate clip. And I've been part of the skate scene in Kiel for a long time, and I know from my own experience how difficult it is to get started, especially as a Flinter person in the still very cis male dominated skate world. And therefore the goal of the project was to counteract this problem and break down inhibitions as a beginner to dare the first step into the skate park and on the skateboard. And it was very important to us that all participants feel comfortable and that a space is created that leaves room for learning. The empowering component should be achieved by connecting the participants and pointing out and talking about that, the fact that all beginners feel a bit uncomfortable at the beginning.
Thank you, Lina. For us as Kultur Grenzenlos, our goal as an organization was mainly to empower the students to implement their own projects. We want to encourage young people to shape our society with their ideas and give them the opportunity to recognize their own potential to have a positive impact in other people's lives. This skate workshop is a very successful example for this kind of empowerment, I think. The students like Lina, who planned and carried out the skate workshop, mastered new challenges, gained new experiences, and at the same time empowered other young people who took part in the event to try out a new activity. We also hope to encourage the participants to stay involved at Kultur Grenzenlos on a long term and to further volunteer in other events or organizational matters.
Absolutely. And from my perspective, I'd say, while the classic approach of service learning focuses on students bringing their specialist skills to the project with the community partner, this approach was just very different because it focused on training interdisciplinary skills, such as we just heard, the development of intercultural competence, team building skills, communication and project management skills, through community engagement, of course. To me, as the supervisor, it was important to clearly describe the community partner as a partner on eye level and as a co-educator during the entire process of engagement. And of course, with the help of theories, models, methods stemming from intercultural studies, my goal was also to equip all students with appropriate and adequate knowledge, skills, and attitudes required later in their project world in intercultural interactions. We laid a lot of focus in class to team building processes and decision-making processes, which would again lead to successful project work. And I tried to brief students on their roles and responsibilities regarding communication, professional follow-through, and which was accompanied throughout by continuous self-reflection in order to place these projects in the most optimal manner.
Very nice. Yeah, let's dive into this questions a little more. Preeti, what advantages and what challenges do you see in service learning?
Good question. I firmly believe that it is our responsibility as a university to play a more active role in being an interface between students and the community. I felt that this is exactly what service learning fosters. It helps us or supports us faculty members by providing a real world counterpart to the theoretical material which we usually discuss in class, and helps strengthen the bond between higher education institutions and the community. When we talk about challenges, I'd say time commitment would be on top of my list. I am not sure whether this was due to the fact that we were conducting this project for the very first time, or if this is a general constraint when it comes to service learning. But I did realize that there was a lot of communication with the community partner as well as with the students for the project to work the way it worked out, or projects in this case. Another thing that comes to my mind is probably the corona pandemic, which kind of complicated this situation a bit. Some projects which were initially planned in person had to be redesigned to online events. There were other projects which switched to and fro between offline, online, and then offline events, which did lead to some frustration and had an impact on students' motivation.
Yeah, like Preeti said, service learning gives you the opportunity to connect your theoretical background from university with the real world community. And during the service learning, I was not only able to apply the skills I had already acquired, but also gained many new skills in teamwork, in communication, and in project work. And my studies together with service learning was the perfect complement for me. And yeah, one challenge with service learning can be motivation and commitment. You have to stay motivated throughout the project work, even if many things don't work out the way you imagined, but with a good team and a good practice partner, it's also easy to do.
Yeah, we as Kultur Grenzenlos also definitely had a lot of different advantages from the project. We always try to reach out to new people and expand our community. So one of the benefits of this seminar was to acquire especially highly motivated participants who are interested in organizing events and potentially in volunteering long-term at Kultur Grenzenlos. And of course, our community also benefited from the events themselves, which were created by the students and attracted many participants. Some of the events will also be repeated in the future, maybe by the same students or by other volunteers. When it comes to the challenges, I think one of the biggest challenge in working together for this seminar was to reconcile the different interests of all three parties. On one hand, we had the students' creative ideas. On the other hand, there was a certain framework given by the university, of course. And on top of that, there was also conditions that we as Kultur Grenzenlos set. So this required, as Preeti also mentioned, constant communication, a lot of flexibility and resilience on all sides. However, I'm very satisfied that we managed to implement the project ideas, and we are very happy with the results, such as the skate workshop, which was a really great success.
Thank you. Okay, so let's finish with a little challenge. What one word would you associate with this service learning project? Marike, would you like to start?
For me, that word is growth in a personal and also from an organizational perspective.
For me, it was inspiring as a faculty member and also on a personal level to see what came together, what projects came together. It's just inspiring, and we can go into round 2.
For me, it is commitment as a student.
Okay, thank you for the interview. We learned a lot about the different perspectives of 3 parts of service learning projects: students, teachers, and project partners. And we see that it is a very good way to consciously acquire interdisciplinary skills. I hope to see you next semester. Let's have a quick view on the feedback of some students.